An elderly man at a Trump rally is grateful that he has his Medicare and VA benefits, but he's still terrified of socialism. As the kids say these days, make it make sense.
I just had to purchase a new car because a deer totaled my other one, and it just, everything, the cost of everything is way too high.
And insurance, medical insurance as well. Medicare, Medicaid.
Well, fortunately, I'm on Medicare, so that helps out a lot right there. And I'm a veteran, so I've got my VA benefits. So
one thing that progressives get in trouble for is assuming that we know what's best for people. It usually comes up when we ask questions like, why would a person vote against their own interests? And to that, the counter argument is that we don't know these people personally, so how could we possibly presume to know what's best for them? And that's a fair point. In general, we shouldn't assume that we know the specifics of someone's life, especially without speaking with them. But if they're operating from a place of misinformation, that can and should be corrected.
You said you never watched the news before. Where do you get your news now?
I watch Fox News, Newsmax. I refuse to watch other stations. I still watch the local news. Actually, 30 minutes in the morning, local news is all I ever watched in my whole life. Never voted in my life. But, it's like, I think he's waking up America, and America is starting to realize, we don't have free and fair elections. The Justice Department ain't blind. It's like they're indoctrinating our children, and so I think he's waking up America big time. Yeah.
Which news do you watch now mostly?
Now? I don't watch any of the news.
Where do you get your...
I go on Michael Knowles and iPods, and now I'm on Twitter with Carson Tucker, things like that, because I want to know everything.
In a perfect world, people would make decisions for themselves based on the right and relevant information, free from pre-existing biases and perceptions. For example, the perception that socialism is hands down bad without recognizing the socialist aspects of the current American economic and political systems that you happen to be actively benefiting from. At that point, if someone still makes a choice that the rest of us don't agree with or understand, then at least we know that they did so consciously. It was a choice. But speaking of choice, I was scrolling through the comment section underneath this post, which I usually don't do because I'm terrified of comment sections in general, but pretty close to the top there, I saw a blue check guy talking about choice, about how Trump did more for veterans than any other president before him. That Trump gave veterans the option of going to the hospital or a doctor's office of their choice rather than waiting months or sometimes years for an appointment at the VA.
We just signed 2 bills that are great for our vets. Our vets are very special. We passed choice, as you know, Veterans Choice and Veterans Accountability. And they've been trying to get that passed for decades and decades and decades, and no president's ever been able to do it. And we got it done, so veterans have choice. And now you have accountability that if you don't love your vets, if you're in the VA and you don't love the vets or take care of the vets, you can actually get fired if you don't do your job.
Why do you keep saying that you passed Veterans Choice? You passed Veterans Choice. It was passed in 2014.
Okay, excuse me. Go ahead, please.
But it was a false statement, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Now, I know I've spoken about this before because a real-life Trump supporter and veteran once said the exact same thing to me during a conversation maybe a year or 2 ago. Real-life Trump supporters and veterans love to tout this Trump victory, using it repeatedly as an example of Trump actually doing something good for people. But while they conveniently ignore all of the times Trump has disparaged and undermined the military and our veterans, they also don't realize that the thing they're repeating isn't true. And the more you repeat something, it doesn't become more true. Choice for veterans was done by the Obama administration, and Trump simply took credit for it, saying he, quote, got it approved. He didn't. Just look at the year the program started. It was 2014. Trump was nowhere in government in 2014, and he certainly wasn't doing any work for the veterans back then. He was not in any way involved in getting Choice approved for the veterans. He also said that McCain, who was actually a veteran, didn't do anything for the veterans, but McCain did, in fact, co-sponsor the bill. You know who else did was the Democratic Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders. Still, by 2019, Trump had publicly repeated this very easily disproved lie over 80 times. And so his supporters, who don't seem to question anything he says, believed him. They didn't know or care that the program went into effect a full 2 years before Trump became president. As of today, they still celebrate this socialistic Obama victory as a Trump victory. The fact that they're celebrating it suggests that on some level, they understand that these programs are good to have, despite taking strong stances against other programs just like it. And the veteran I spoke to about this was worried that Biden would undo this great thing that Trump had done, this thing that had made such a meaningful difference in his own life. He was worried that a man who was actually a part of the administration that got it approved in the first place would, for some reason, undo it all. The sad truth is that this man will almost positively vote for Trump a third time in 2024 over Biden because it doesn't matter who actually did the thing that he's so grateful for. He has chosen to believe that Trump did it. So that's what the Dems are up against, and it's honestly what they've been up against for years. It's hard to reach people at scale, though, and once you even do that, it's then hard to undo or just clarify years of beliefs held within them, especially when they've been told not to trust you. Especially when they've chosen to only trust the one guy who happens to be a pathological liar. And someone like Trump is hard to go up against in something like this. Within a few years, he repeated one specific lie over 80 times to audiences of thousands, millions of people. And that was just one false claim he was making. That says nothing of all the other false or misleading claims he's made since, let's say, 2015, the start of his political career. Over 80 times to millions of people. I have only countered that one claim twice within the years that I've had a somewhat public platform, and my audience size is incredibly humble. Unfortunately, I don't have Sean Spicer here to inflate my audience size, so it is what it is. But even collectively, the amount of effort and energy it would take to now remedy some of the damage that Trump and his cohorts have caused in the minds of so many Americans feels like an insurmountable obstacle. But we can't afford not to try. All right? So that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe to the channel and be sure to follow me on all of the socials. And if you haven't yet, please check out my new podcast, Modern Context. It's available wherever you get podcasts, and I think it's fun. All right, thanks.